Aloha everybody, Kaiwaza with you. Welcome back to my channel and our journey through my Hawaiian record collection. First off, my leis. Love the leis, right? They're molded plastic, they're not real. And I have about a dozen of them. They're like from the 60s and 70s before they started doing silk leis. And whenever I see them in thrift stores, or collectors expos, I always get them if they're reasonably priced because I love the plastic leis. They're kind of cool. Anyway, we are going through budget label Hawaiian records and what I collectively call the Lukleani recordings, because nobody really knows who they're by, and Lukleani was a name sometimes given for the artist amongst many other names, but just one I personally associate. So I kind of call them all the Lukleani recordings. Now to review, I've said there were essentially four groups that each did a full set of studio recordings that they're different from one another, different groups. But the majority of the budget labels were some combination of those four sessions. They would take two from one and three from another and whatever and throw them all together and release this sloppy album and call it whatever by some fictitious name, by some fictitious group, and change the name of the songs, yada yada yada. Okay, so we have looked at two. If you see the two previous videos, we've looked at the first two groups of studio recordings. Now today we're going to look at the third one, and I am very in love with the third one. I'm just going to be straight up tell you I love this group, and I know that whoever they are, and I know that there are many people, steel guitar players and whatnot, who really criticize this particular set and say, oh, this playing is so choppy and who would want to, you know, whatever. They don't like it. I love it. And I love it because they sound to me like they're just having a blast, whoever they are. It's so up and cheerful. It's just a steel guitar with ukulele. It's a very traditional sort of combo, no, you know, piano or strings or anything like that. Just a very small group. Now, let me start off by saying with this group number 3 that we're looking at today of the Lukleani recordings, there are 17 tracks that I have found by this group, 17 different songs. Now what's interesting about this, unlike the other groups, is that for whatever reason, these are all pretty well-known standard songs, most of them, in the Hawaiian repertoire. But they never released them under the actual name of the song. And I don't know why that is. They were trying to avoid copyright or something. I don't know. But they would give them crazy names, and you'd listen to it and you'd go, I know that song. It's not the name of that song, but whatever. And I'll just tell you, for clarity, the 17 songs that this group, whoever they are, did, that are never released under titles. They did Song of Old Hawaii, Lovely Hula Hands, Harbor Lights, To You Sweetheart Aloha, When Hilo Hattie Does the Hilo Hop, My Little Grass Shack, Little Brown Gal, South Sea Island Magic, Manuela Boy, quite an old song, Hawaiian Sunset, Steel Guitar Rag, which was actually a country song, Song of the Islands, It Happened in Kaloha, 2 versions of Hawaiian War Chant, 2 different versions, and then there's 2 songs that I can't identify, and I'm going to kind of stick them in here so you can hear them a little bit, and maybe somebody out there knows the original names of these songs. I don't know. This first one, which is a very slow, dreamy song, I think of as Hawaiian Light because it was called that on one of the early albums I have. I don't know. I think it's probably like an early song, like It Happened in Kaloha or Manuela Boy, like maybe from the 1920s or something. But I just don't have any other versions of it, so I don't know what this song actually is. And the second song that they recorded, I don't know, is kind of a bluesy thing. They call it, well, I think of it as Dancing Surf. It was one title, but it's called many different things. But it's just kind of a typical bluesy thing, but I don't know if it also was originally some other song. It probably was, because every single thing they recorded was an already existing song that they just gave a different name to and jazzed it up a little bit. So my first exposure to these guys was actually a record that my grandfather had, 2 records my grandfather had. Vacation in Hawaii by the Hawaiians on Crown Records. Love the cover so much, and I need to get a new one because this one's really ratted out. In fact, I did just order one on eBay, not too expensive. That's still in the shrink wrap copy of this one. This is on Crown Records. And I also came across it at a dollar record store one time in a blue cover rather than red. Now here it is on Spinorama. That's being listed by Lukleani and his Hawaiians, Heavenly Hawaii. And I'll show you the song titles, but the song titles are changing on all the records, and they're never the actual song titles, which are like the Lovely Hula Hands and Little Brown Gal. And, I'll show you that. I look at the titles, because the titles are always kind of funny. I should show you the titles on all these. It's almost like if you come across a record and you're not sure and it has like bizarre titles, you go, oh, that's one of those Lukleani things, probably. My grandfather also had this record, so I was rather sentimentally attached to this one as well. Some nice artwork on the back. This is the same titles as the other one. Here we see it, Hawaiian Favorites. Some very creative titles here as well. Now, here it is, called Hawaiian Moonbeams on Coronet Records. And you see this artwork again. And also on Coronet Records, very interesting here, Hawaiian Moonbeams, Hawaii Goes Percussion. This is exactly the same record. And you know what's really interesting about that is that this group has no percussion instruments whatsoever. It's purely string guitars. There's no percussion. There's not even like one drum or even a piano, or it's just nothing that would qualify as percussion. I don't know. But now, interestingly, what some of the budget labels did, and they did it with this one, is they did turn it into a percussion record. Because, you know, when stereo was new and there were all these ping-pong percussion records, it was a popular thing. So, of course, budget labels are going to cash in on that, and they did their own version of... they took these recordings, some of these Lukleani recordings that we're listening to today, and all they did was they created or had some sort of library of just weird percussion introductions that had nothing to do with the song. They're just like separate weird, I mean, you'll hear some of them playing in the background, just this ping-pongy things, and then they just stick the song after it that has no percussion in it. But they did that not just for the Hawaiian album, they did that like for some easy listening string records, the budget labels, banjo records, everything. They had like this bank of percussion introductions that they just stuck on all of those songs and released them as like percussion records. So this is Hawaii in ping pong percussion. And it's by not Lukleani, but Lukleani. And then finally, and with this group, this is a very nice release, Audio Guild. I'm not familiar with this label, but it's some kind of record club. But it is the Lukleani recordings that we're listening to, this third group, all of them. Interestingly, they gave totally fictitious English names and then translated them into Hawaiian names for the songs. Anyway. Now, like I said, there's 17 tracks in total that I have found of this particular group. I would love to find more, and there might be more out there somewhere, but I kind of don't think so. I think 17 is it. And interestingly, of course, no record has all 17 tracks. You will not find any record or set that has all 17. It's just, 10 or 12 or 12 of them, whatever. Okay, so that is group 3 of the Leilani recordings, so I think of as Leilani. And we're going to stop there, so I hope you enjoyed that. The next video, we're going to be looking at group number 4. So if you like this kind of music, I invite you to check out my Hawaiian easy listening radio station on Live 365. It's called Hawaiian Hi-Fi, 24 hours, 7 days a week, free to listen to in the USA, Canada, and the UK, and I'll link that below. So if you have any of these records, and if you collect Hawaiian records at all, you probably have come across some of these, and you may very well have them and never quite realized what they were. Well, now you know. There are 100 different groups by 100 different names, and I love them to death. Okay? We'll see you in the next video.